Welcome, brother. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you've been exploring men's work for a while or are just beginning, this space is for you. This is your journey to reclaim your emotional sovereignty, to connect deeply with others, and to build a life grounded in authenticity and courage. It's a major step in your path to becoming the man that you want to be, not the man that society has told you have to be. So, here are my recommendations on how to engage with this course. First, adopt a reflective mindset. Approach each module with openness and curiosity. Allow yourself to explore uncomfortable truths about masculinity and personal growth and what that has meant for your life. Number two, take your time. This is a self-paced course for a reason. Move through the content at a rhythm that follows your schedule and allows you for deep engagement and reflection. Revisit modules or exercises if needed, and remember that growth is non-linear. Third, engage fully with the activities. The exercises and journaling prompts are designed to challenge and transform. Commit to doing them authentically, even when they feel vulnerable or unfamiliar, or even if you don't feel like it. Fourth, join the community. Share your reflections, challenges, and wins in the Hey Brother Code community spaces, because connection amplifies growth. Lean into the brotherhood that's offered here. We can't do this on our own. Next, celebrate progress. Acknowledge the steps that you're taking, no matter how small they may seem. Recognize the transformation, and recognize that it takes time and effort. Apply lessons to daily life. Use what you've learned in real-world situations, in relationships, work, and personal challenges. And then notice how this shifts your mindset and practice and how it begins to ripple out into every area of your life. This course is not just about personal growth. It's about building a new vision of masculinity for you that fosters connection, accountability, and healing. By engaging fully, you'll not only transform yourself, but also contribute to a larger movement, redefining what it means to be a man. You're helping every other member of this course when you show up fully. So, in all men's work endeavors, you get out of it what you put in. Don't expect transformation if you're not willing to put the work in. If you want brotherhood in this space, if you want brotherhood in life, if you want to feel challenged, supported, and accountable to your growth, you need to step outside of your comfort zone to create change. You need to commit to change. So much of what we've been told about manhood has been drilled into us since we were infants, little boys, and these ideas are floating around in our subconscious. So it's gonna take real effort to make changes and improve our lives. That's what men's work is, work. So, are you ready? Now, before I dive into what men's work is, let's start with why this work is so important, why it matters so much right now, and why this course exists. That'll help set the stage. Men and boys today are facing numerous crises. Let's look at the data. According to the CDC, men account for nearly 80% of all suicides in the United States. And men aged 45 to 54 and boys aged 15 to 24 are particularly at risk. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among boys aged 10 to 14. Now, in the US Surgeon General's 2023 framework on social connection, he reports that about half of all men feel lonely, and he declared a loneliness epidemic as a result. This lack of connection impacts mental health, physical health, life expectancy, and quality of relationships more severely than cigarette smoking. Additionally, the nonprofit Equimundo reports that 60% of men struggle to form close friendships, exacerbating this feeling of isolation, and over 2/3 of men aged 18 to 24 feel that nobody really knows them well. Boys are more likely to be diagnosed with learning disabilities, to be suspended from school, and to fall behind in reading comprehension and literacy. And fewer than 25% of K through 12 teachers are men, leaving boys underrepresented in classrooms, and this figure is declining. Only about 40% of college students today are men, according to the American Institute for Boys and Men. Young men without college degrees face limited job opportunities and declining wages, and are particularly susceptible to economic hardship. This economic stagnation can lead to feelings of failure and frustration, especially when we benchmark ourselves and our self-worth against the performance of men in the Gen X and baby boomer generations, who had a much better economic environment. Men and boys are disproportionately affected by violence, both as perpetrators and as victims. Boys of color, in particular, face systemic barriers that increase their likelihood of incarceration, making up the majority of those incarcerated in the United States. Further research from Equinendo reveals that adherence to rigid masculine norms is linked to higher rates of physical aggression, domestic violence, and substance abuse. Studies have shown that perpetrators of mass violence often exhibit a history of isolation and adherence to patriarchal masculine ideals. Men who feel pressure to conform to traditional masculinity experience higher levels of anxiety and depression, which can lead to self-harm or outward aggression. Traditional masculinity norms discourage emotional vulnerability, and this leads to struggles in forming meaningful relationships and connections. The Global Boyhood Initiative highlights how these issues are universal, affecting boys' mental health, education, and relationships across cultures worldwide. This is not an issue isolated to any one nation. So these challenges are all deeply connected to how you and I have been taught to see and express ourselves as men. We can call this conditioning patriarchal masculinity. Now, whether you agree with that term or not, please keep an open mind. Patriarchal masculinity tells us that strength means stoic silence, and that connection is weakness, and that we're only as valuable as our achievements. This has created generational cycles of emotional isolation, anger, and despair, leading to all of those shocking statistics I just spoke about. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be this way. Through the practice of men's work, we can take ownership of our lives and alleviate many of the challenges that we're experiencing as a collective. We can build a movement to redefine what it means to be a man. So, what is men's work? Good question, right? The practice of men's work refers to an intentional process of personal growth, community growth, emotional healing, relationship building, and general self-development in a gender solidarity environment, so with other men and boys. Men's work is deeply rooted in unlearning patriarchal norms that have been conditioned into us to suppress our emotions, prioritize dominance, and avoid being vulnerable. So in way simpler terms, men's work is when men and boys focus on supporting ourselves and one another. So by watching this video right now, you are doing men's work. For that, I'm really proud of you, and I hope that you're proud of yourself. It's not an easy thing to commit to, but here you are. Here is some of what men's work involves and what you can expect from this course. Learning to recognize and name your emotions, both physical and emotional feelings, processing some emotional pain, often that which stems from societal expectations or personal trauma, releasing the emotional suppression tied to patriarchal masculinity, embracing vulnerability to form deeper connections, sharing your story, your authentic experiences and fears within a supportive environment, challenging the misconception that vulnerability is a weakness, holding oneself and others accountable for growth and behavioral change, creating a space for honest feedback and mutual support, building a community that uplifts while fostering responsibility and integrity, identifying and dismantling harmful beliefs about masculinity and manhood, exploring how these norms contribute to emotional isolation, violence, and unhealthy relationships, and how they've impacted your life, adopting practices that promote equity, compassion, inclusivity, brotherhood, developing routines like mindfulness, journaling, and gratitude to support ongoing transformation, and encouraging consistent self-reflection and self-care, then integrating healthy habits into relationships and community engagement. Through men's work, we cultivate relationships where men can be open, honest, and supportive, not just with oneself and each other, but with all the people in our communities. And we create environments that value emotional depth, vulnerability, and mutual respect. Because most boys are told to man up, stop crying, and eventually are coerced into putting on masks and shutting away our authentic selves. And this results in most adult men feeling emotionally incarcerated. Men's work offers us a pathway to reclaim emotional sovereignty, fostering authentic relationships and redefining masculinity in a way that supports holistic well-being. It's both a personal and collective journey because it challenges men to grow beyond societal confines while also building healthy community for everybody. When one man works, we all work. And that is how brotherhood is formed. So, all that being said, I'd like to congratulate you on this step in your men's work journey. And thank you so much for the trust in taking this course. I don't take it lightly that you're here to do men's work with me. So at this point, please pause the video and take a moment to reflect on why you are taking this course. What do you hope to gain from it? Then reflect on what the phrase man up means to you. All right, post your reflections in the community forum or keep them as a close guide for your journey, because I guarantee it'll be really fun and interesting to reflect back on that reflection once you've finished all of the modules. Welcome to the Hey Brother Co Brotherhood. Let's get this work, my brother.